The windmills of economic fortune are forever turning, whispering in tongues only the most discerning can decipher. To the untrained ear, their utterances seem indecipherable squalls, but those who pause and listen closely can find deep resonance and heartening signs amid the swirling gusts. Such was the case with last week's producer price data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. On the surface, the 0.1% uptick in the headline producer price index and the unchanged reading for core prices seemed little more than the arid numerical patter so numbingly familiar to the finance scribes. Yet to those whose sensibilities have been honed to the subtle thermodynamics of economic zephyrs, these unassuming figures carried glad tidings and salving whispers of an economy realigning. The soothsayers parsing this numerical ovation heard the economy's pulse slowing from the fever pitch of recent years. The steadying rhythm of service costs, which fell 0.2% on the month, bespeaks an economic engine finally downshifting from its breakneck cadences to a more sustainable, less frictional pace. After months of profligate spending and dizzying price growth, the American economic circus finally seems to be packing up its tent, the frenetic music slowing to a reasonable andante. Not that the economy is in any danger of stalling out. Far from it. The 0.6% rise in goods prices reminds that there remains plenty of productive fire in the nation's industrial forges, even as the service side takes a prudent breather. And while service margins did slacken as the report detailed, the healthy 0.3% increase in the trade services excluded measure reinforces that this economic expansion maintains sturdy legs. Most reassuring were the whispers from the price categories feeding into the Federal Reserve's favored inflation gauge, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index. Physician and hospital costs were subdued, even as items like portfolio management services continued chugging along at trendline levels. The blustery inflation narrative of recent years has grown as quiet as a zephyr over the salt marshes. Indeed, these latest wholesale figures arrive at an auspicious pivot point for the nation's monetary mandarins at the Federal Reserve. While a resolute band of inflation hawks may cling to their trenchant calls for further rate hikes, the shifting winds revealed in this data bolster the case for a change in posture. This is not to argue for the Fed to fall asleep at the economic wheel. Prudence and vigilance remain the watchwords, as always. But responding to stable wholesale inflation readings with further rate increases would be akin to furiously fanning flames that have already subsided to glowing embers. The Fed's new chair, Jerome Powell, would be wise to tune his ear to these calming economic murmurs and guide interest rates to a holding pattern as the economy finds its new, more sustainable orbit. The laws of physics teach that no windmill can spin furiously forever. Inevitably, the gales animating its revolutions must flag and the blades slow. So too with the ceaseless cycles of economic expansion and contraction, inflation and disinflation. The latest producer price rundowns represent our economic windmill beginning its gradual glide from frantic spinning to a mellower, steady whirring. For those of us toiling amid the clangorous hubbub of our daily economic dramas, it can be easy to miss the resonant melodies woven into the ostensibly arid data spools. But those who pause and attune their senses stand to reap profound insights from the whispers carried on the shifting winds. The numerologists who channel these signals discern glad tidings of an economy realigning, the feverish overheating giving way to a simmer, the deafening noise quieting to a comforting murmur. Even as the productivity mills spin on, the economic score has modulated to airier passages. Those with ears to hear the music find reassurance in its new, mellower movements. Our economic windmills can now cadence to more tranquil, sustainable revolutions, their blades sawing out notes of moderation rather than fevered exertion. To the discerning, the whispers reveal an economy realigning, recalibrating to the most sustainable pressures and tempos.